Next, we are going to hear from Scott Merril with BeachTech. I met Scott last November, I guess, or October, whatever it was, at the ASPBA meeting in Galveston, and we've been emailing a bunch, so glad to see him again. Glad he's here, and we get to hear what BeachTech can do.
Thank you very much. My name is Scott Merril, and I'm from BeachTech Beach Cleaning Equipment. We're out of Reno, Tahoe. Hopefully some of you have made it out to our coastal mecca out there on the West Coast. I'm sure they taught you about our beaches in Nevada, but if they haven't, if you haven't heard about our beaches out in Nevada, I invite you to come out and visit. We like to consider ourselves the true coastal community of the West Coast. I was talking with Todd earlier today, and he had mentioned that you guys actually had some snow a few years ago. And BeachTech is the brand of our beach cleaning machines. We're a niche market business. We build machines for niche markets. Another one of our niche markets is the snow business. So given our conversation that we had earlier, and the fact that you guys had some snow, and as just maybe a little bit of a break from the seaweed, the sargassum, and the sun and the sand, but you may like to see a few pictures of some of the snow grooming equipment that we have. Again, the main concept here was just to point out that we build machines for niche markets. Snow is a niche market. Beach raking, beach cleaning, beach sifting is obviously a niche market. However, back to the beach. And again, why am I here? I'm not a scientist. I don't really have any acronyms after my name. I graduated. I'm just a sales guy. We're all just sales guys. We're all selling something, really. And if you think about it, nothing happens unless somebody sells it first. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to change the PR, you're trying to sell it. You're trying to give a speech, you're trying to sell it. And as Chris said, I'm not going to go through the dog and pony show of the sales. I do want to show you some of the things that we're coming up with, the things that I'm allowed to show you, and continue to get input. One of the biggest factors was to continue to stay in touch with the folks that currently use our machines, the folks that are thinking about using our machines, and to find out and gain more information from the issues of what you need the machine to do. Obviously, sargassum being the main one. Our machine's not going to get rid of the sargassum. No beach cleaning machine is going to get rid of the sargassum, and I don't want to mislead you or be misunderstood. But I do want to stay in contact, and I do want to hear what the thoughts and the feeling is out there as to the type of machine that ought to be developed, and then take it back to our engineers and see if that's something that really can be developed. Again, being a niche market manufacturing company, this is what we do. We have the capacity, we have the technology. We just don't know what it is that y'all need. Those of you that use our machines have seen our machines. We've been through here a couple of times with some of our newer machines, and I think most of everybody has seen it and been in it. So hopefully a lot of it doesn't really come as much of a shock. And again, just continue to try and understand your needs and to be able to develop a solution for you. The real value to you and from us is to be your partner, to say, hey, this is what the folks in Texas need. Communicate that back to the engineers and go through the trial and error process. The pictures that I'm about to show you in a few minutes are some of the things that we're doing overseas with their issues that appear to be something that may be worth looking at over here. Another point to make, as Chris had mentioned, we travel all over the United States, all over the world, so we see how all of these other beaches do things. And as archaic as it is, the raking into a pile, the loading that material and bringing it out of the beach, that's how they do it in California, that's how they do it in Florida, that's how they do it in the Great Lakes, in the New England area. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it does work. Nobody's built a better mousetrap yet. Another point to make is, yes, we're in the business of selling machines, and as Chris said earlier, we do want to sell machines to you. That's what we do for a living. But we don't believe that every beach ought to be cleaned. As a matter of fact, very few beaches ought to be cleaned. If 95% of the beaches in the country are not cleaned, that's a good thing. But the 5% that are cleaned ought to be cleaned pretty well for the folks that come from Nebraska and they have a week or 2 weeks of vacation. They may not want to learn about the benefits of sargassum and learn why it's important to stay on the beach, but that's a huge economic engine for all of the communities. So not every beach ought to be cleaned, but the ones that are cleaned should be cleaned to a certain standard or a certain criteria that enables the public and the tourists and the folks that are spending the money to want to come back. And that all kind of works into balance. You've got environmental issues, you've got economic issues, you've got job issues, you've got a lot of issues at stake. And Dewey had made mention of it earlier about balance. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of balance. And I see it from the manufacturing side. We're usually considered the guys that are only after it from a profit motive. And we first have to overcome that barrier to say, wait, we want to be the partner. We just happen to have the ability to build these things and the capacity to do it. So let's work together on coming up with a solution. But we know our solution has to benefit the environment, has to benefit the natural beach, has to ensure that the jobs are still there, and has to ensure that the tourists keep coming back to spend their money. But most importantly, again, it's for BeachTech to come up with the solution that you folks need. And we've worked with Lou and Lee and Todd and Ray and everybody in the room in terms of what it is. And it's still hard to quantify. I don't think we really have our hands around the issue of what the machine ought to be. But once we get it, we'd love to build it and bring it down here and test it out. Some of the equipment, we have 4 different machines right now. We've got a couple others that will be coming out shortly that I don't have pictures of. But in a nutshell, beach cleaning machines, the metric is working width, working depth, and hopper capacity. I just wanted to point out the 4 various machines that we have. We have 3 pull-behinds and 1 self-propelled unit. And now in terms of the attachments, I'm not going to go through the other machines that we have, but the attachments and the items that we're working on, these are all prototyped items. What we've done here is we've put heavy-duty tines on the front, and we've developed it so it can go on the 3-point hitch on the back of a tractor, and this is the exact same one, but from the back. You can take the finisher off, and you can put another attachment behind it. The finisher is nice because it will level the beach. It'll set it up nice. It puts the corduroy on it, which I understand not everybody is in favor of. But that 5% that come to the beach that want a clean beach, they tend to like that kind of stuff. So we have to be aware of that. We've also prototyped the times where we can put it up in the front. So you can come along. Now, this is obviously none of this is going to work on the Sargassum that you have, but it's a design that works in its application, and it's something that we can build off of. Up in here, now you can put them in the front of the tractor. You've got the wheels on there so you can maintain a constant depth, whether you want to be right on top of the sand, whether you want to be under the sand, wherever you want to be. The wheels allow that to maintain that as it goes up and over ridges and as it moves around. And here we've kind of staggered a little bit of the tines as it goes through. Here we're looking at putting the scarifier behind the tractor in front of the machine. It does tend to loosen up the dirt, which we're actually getting requests at some of the beaches in Florida where they've got real hard packed areas. They want some of this tilled up to soften it up a little bit. Maybe something a little bit bigger or some variation of that may be beneficial for the sargassum. The concept is you have one machine as it goes through, it's picking it up, or it's at least breaking it up, and then it's going up into the machine. These are our 2 This one in particular is probably our most successful thing so far. This is the front view of what you saw earlier, with the wheels can be raised or lowered, and you've got the tines going into the sand to push it. You can't see behind it, but he's got the beach cleaning machine behind it. So again, just in one pass, he's accomplishing as many functions as he can. But down here is something that's kind of nice. A nice big blade, just like the loaders, to move that stuff. We've now gone and we've put hydraulic wings on the end of it, so from inside the operator cabin, he can control the wings independently. So if he wants to windrow, he can windrow. If he wants to keep them out, keep them in. Whatever the need of that day or of that beach or that issue, at least he's got some solutions from inside the tractor cabin. I want to avoid a misconception that we're removing sand, or that beach cleaning machines as a whole remove sand. We understand that sand is a precious commodity. I mean, it's gold for the beach, and nobody wants to remove sand. We certainly don't want to remove sand. Got two pictures, and then if you don't mind, James, if we could just do that video right quick. It may be a little hard to see, but this is debris that washes up. This is the California beach, but this is the debris that washes up at this particular beach on a daily basis, and it has to be removed. You may not be able to see it, but as the material goes up, the sand shakes out and it falls down, and you've only got the debris that goes into the hopper. Can you hit that real quick? I put this in there just so everyone can see that we're not removing sand. No beach cleaner, ours or anybody's, is in the business of removing sand. It's just removing debris. Maybe let it loop one more time so we can just see in the very beginning of it. You notice no sand. That's a good thing. I mean, getting rid of that stuff is a good thing. You can see they've got the loader there. That's, again, coast to coast. Not to use the word over and over again, but as archaic as it is, we can go back to that system works. To give you an idea of the material that's picked up, here's kind of a close-up. So you can see there's sand right there. The sand, with our system, with the ability to rake and sift, we do literally pick up the sand, but we are shaking that sand out. That's how you make sure you're getting all the small debris. Here you can see a little piece of glass. You can see cigarette butts. You can see bottle caps, other plastic material. I mean, this is important stuff to get out of the beach, not only for people, but for animals. This is the beach in Florida with a little bit of a Sargassum event. This is really not much. And any machine will pick up the little bit of stuff. The pictures that we see and the levels that we've seen from y'all, no machine is going to do it. But if you can get it down to a foot or less, any beach cleaning machine ought to be able to come through and get that Sargassum out, shake that sand out of there, leave that back down on the beach, and leave something aesthetically pleasing for the customers. That always hits them hard, you know, and I love saying the line of beach cleaning is not a crime, because coast to coast and around the world, there are particular folks that look at us like we really are the devil. You know, we've got a machine that goes on the beach and kills the beetles and the bugs and the birds and all this stuff, and it takes a while to let that process go through and then engage in a constructive conversation to let them know and get them aware that, wait a minute, we're all on the same team. We're trying to get this stuff out of the beach so that, yes, the public is happy, but that the animals are happy. Whether it's the grunion in California or the turtles from Florida or the plovers all over the country, there's a real need to get rid of this debris, and unfortunately, when you get rid of some of the debris, yeah, we may kill some of these bugs and beetles and things like that. And as we heard yesterday, they recolonize, and maybe there's a way to have a win-win situation where we can develop something that keeps the environmentalists happy. They understand what we're trying to do. We understand about the jobs, the economic benefits, and come up with a win-win solution for everybody. This, again, just to show you what it kind of looks like, and then as you go through, you take all that stuff off, the sand sets up quite nice. I realize it's not a natural beach for the folks in this room who may indeed like a natural beach, but if you come from a landlocked state and you only have 1 or 2 weeks, I think most people are going to really want to see that kind of stuff. Just a picture of all the different types of machines that we have right now. The rest of them will be coming out shortly. And to sum it all up, that's why we're here, to learn, to develop, and to implement that machine, to be the partner with you guys, to get the feedback, to hear what it is that you need, and then to go back to our engineers and build it and come here and test it. I put down here at the very bottom, number one item people want is a clean beach. I don't know how many folks were at the ASBPA show last year when Scott Grove did his research, and I don't know if it's statistically significant for scientists, and not being one myself, it made me feel good, but the number one thing that people wanted in the beach was a clean beach. And he had it divided, seaweed, trash, the whole 9 yards. And it was a clean beach, free of seaweed, free of trash, and aesthetically pleasing. So,
sifting work when the sand's all wet?
If the sand is wet, you do have to go a little bit slower because you don't want the sand to ride up. And so the operators are trained, if they're going into the water or if they're in that wet area, to slow down. And the sand will still shake out as it goes up. And we'll bring it down, and you can talk to Lee and the guys at Galveston that use that machine too on some of the wet sand.
The stuff that we have out here today at the water line,
Yeah.
there's just a small band and it's scattered, I would think that one of your machines, if you had someplace to unload it, that you could get up that stuff in a matter of 3 or 4 hours here in front of the hotel. Right?
If it's really small, if it's about a foot or less, our machine will...
You're talking about scattered...
Right, and what we've seen out there, yes.
Well, I don't just the accumulated stuff, no.
Right.
But the fresh stuff, because what happens, it sits, and then because it's not tended to, then it becomes something big. Whereas we had something that was tended to it when it came up in these areas where people would like to have a clean beach,
right,
then maybe we don't have to do as much as that.
And it's just finding that balance, because you don't want to do it on every beach. Yeah, but yeah.
You indicated earlier that none of these machines really work on our Sargassum, but yet that's when you were showing that shook the sand.
Right.
Would that work out here?
Again, it's the level and depth of the material. I'm comfortable in saying 12 inches or less, it will work. More than that, not even close. It would be a very bad thing to do.
I'm just kind of thinking aloud here. If you took a harvesting approach, like the farming industry,
right?
I mean, our motivation here is to eliminate.
Right.
In farm, it is to also to eliminate, but you're going to come back with the next crop. And so their technology seems that there seems to be some kind of, when you like the corn, and then you go to a crop, it's cleaned out and all one big old.
Yeah.
So, is there technology that could be borrowed from the harvesting approach rather than the elimination approach?
That's a good question. I don't think I have a real good answer for you. I think folks have tried different things, and we're not opposed to trying stuff like that. We'd have to dig a little deeper as to what exactly do you mean. I mean, in terms of harvesting corn and those big machines, you'd have a lot of equipment on the beach and a pretty big ground pressure to deal with. I don't know if that's the best.
Well, yeah, in terms of height, because they're dealing with that height issue too, and
right,
on the size of the crop.
Right.
There has to be technology there that can be borrowed.
I haven't seen any of that technology yet. I'm sure in terms of being put on a beach cleaning machine or being put on the beach, but it's something that I will go back and see if we can get the engineers and get them with some of the ag guys as to what the ag guys use and how can that be morphed into something for a beach cleaning machine. Yeah. Thank Thank you very much.